Hare Krishna, we continue reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 9, the most confidential knowledge, text 28. Shubha Shubha Phaler Evam
Shubha Shubha
Shubha
Phalayate
Ashokam Ekam
Mokshya Se Karma Bandhane
Moksha Se
Mokshasya
Karma Bandhane
Karma
Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma
Sannyasa
Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma
Vimukto Mam Upeshyasi.
Yukto
Vimukto Mam Upeyashi.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me, in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. So Krishna was telling Arjuna in the previous verse, in text 27, he says, whatever you do, whatever you give away, whatever you eat, uh, you do it for me. So this is karma yoga. Krishna is saying, don't get attached to the result, but you do it for me. You offer the result to me. And then he's saying, what is the result of this? So first he's giving the instruction. Now he's explaining what happens if we do it. He's saying in this way, we will be freed from the bondage to work. The cycle of karma, vikarma, we will be freed from that. We will be free from the pious result and the impious result. And then, because the mind is fixed on Krishna, the living entity is working only for the pleasure of Krishna, for sure he will come to Krishna. For sure he will be liberated. You will be liberated, Krishna is saying. You just act. Act without being attached to the result. Act for many people act without being attached to the result. So that is also karma yoga. Yes, that acting for without being attached to the result. But here Krishna is specifically saying that you do it for me, offer the result to me, he's saying. And he's saying this, you will be liberated and you will come to me. One who acts in Krishna consciousness under superior direction is called yukta. The technical term is Yukta Vairagya. This is further explained by Rupa Goswami as follows. So Yukta Vairagya, Yukta, renunciate. Why? Because he's not attached to the result of his activities. He's not acting that I will do something, I will get pleasure. So that attachment to the material is not there. But whatever he's acting, the pure devotee, he takes all sorts of endeavors. It's not that he's sleeping or just sitting. No, I'm not going to act because I will get sinful reactions. No, he's doing all sorts of activities, but his mood is all for the pleasure of Krishna. The only intention of his by all his activities is to please Krishna. So Srila Rupa Goswami is telling us what is Yukta Vairagya in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 12255. Anashaktasya Vishayan Yatharham Upayunjataha Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagyam Uchyate. Rupa Goswami says that as long as we are in the material world, we have to act. We cannot cease acting. Krishna says it himself also in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, that without work you cannot maintain yourself. We may think, oh, I'm going to just sit and everything will happen by itself. No, we have to act. The lion, he's the king of the jungle, yet he has to go and hunt. The food does not just come in his mouth. Prabhupada would give that example. So we have to act. Something or the other we have to do. It could be a simple thing, but we are going to do it. Therefore, if actions are performed and the fruits are given to Krishna, then that is called Yukta Vairagya. So we act for the pleasure of Krishna. Act, offer the result to Krishna. That is Yukta Vairagya. Not that we don't act. Don't act, that is not a proper position, because we cannot not act. We are going to be doing something or the other. We may not do something big, but at least we will eat. We will speak. That's also acting. So Rupa Goswami is saying, act, but offer the fruits to Krishna. Actually situated in renunciation, such activities clear the mirror of the mind. And as the actor gradually makes progress in spiritual realization, he becomes completely surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what happens when we offer the result to Krishna? When we are keeping the result for ourselves, we are getting more and more bound up in this material world by the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Our consciousness is getting more and more contaminated. But when we offer the result to Krishna, then our consciousness starts getting cleaner, cleaner, cleaner. And then what happens is, with a clear mind, we are able to understand Krishna. We can actually completely surrender ourselves to Krishna. Such activities clear the mirror of the mind, and the actor gradually makes progress in spiritual realization. Because then the mind gets free from all the material contamination. One can understand, oh, I'm not the body, I'm a living entity, part and parcel of Krishna. And then, in this way, the living entity surrenders to Krishna. Therefore, so the more we get attached to the result, the more we were going to create more and more bodies for ourselves. The more we can offer the result to Krishna, gradually, more and more, we will be able to understand, oh, I'm not the body, I'm spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore, so this is what? It's practical application of knowledge. We simply have to apply it. We have to do it. It's not just some philosophy. No, we do it and it will happen. Therefore, at the end, he becomes liberated. So we do some activity, offer the result to Krishna, and this is going to give us liberation, guaranteed. And this liberation is also specified. By this liberation, he does not become one with the Brahmajyoti, but rather enters into the planet of the Supreme Lord. So which kind of liberation? Because there are 5 kinds of liberation. So here it is mentioned. Krishna is saying, you will get liberated. What kind of liberation you will get? Not that you're just going to enter into the Brahman, but you are going to come to the Golok Vrindavan, enter into the highest planet in the spiritual world. It is clearly mentioned here, Mam Upeshyasi, he comes to me, back home, back to Godhead. Mam Upeshyasi, he comes to me. So Krishna is saying, for sure you're going to act. You cannot not act. So how do you act? Act in such a way. How to act? Offer the result to Krishna. What happens when you offer the result to Krishna? You get liberated. Then, what kind of liberation? Going back home, back to Godhead, going to Golok Vrindavan. So Krishna is he's step by step telling us what to do. We heard yesterday saying, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you give away, you do that as an offering for me. And today he's telling us what is the result of such an offering to Krishna, that we will get liberated. We will make spiritual progress. We will be able to understand I'm not the body, I'm soul, eternal part and parcel of Krishna. There are 5 different stages of liberation, and here it is specified that the devotee who has always lived his lifetime here under the direction of the Supreme Lord, as stated, has evolved to the point where he can, after quitting his body, go back to Godhead and engage directly in the association of the Supreme Lord. So Krishna is saying that what kind of liberation will this devotee get who is offering the results to Krishna. He's saying that as soon as he gives up the body here, give up this body, and he will go back home, back to Godhead, to directly, personally associate with Krishna. Krishna lives in Krishna, his permanent home is in Golok Vrindavan. He's always there. So if we can offer the result of our activities to Krishna, we can get easily liberated in this very life. And at the end of life, we can go to associate with Krishna in Golok Vrindavan. Anyone who has no interest but to dedicate his life to the service of the Lord is actually a sannyasi. Such a person always thinks of himself as an eternal servant, dependent on the supreme will of the Lord. So a sannyasi does not only mean someone who's wearing saffron clothes, but what are his activities? What is he speaking? What is he doing? That makes a person a sannyasi, not just a change of dress. A grihast can also be a sannyasi. What is his consciousness? He's always dependent on the supreme will of the Lord. He understands, I am an eternal servant of Krishna and I am completely dependent on the will of Krishna. As such, whatever he does it for the benefit of the Lord. Whatever action he performs it as service to the Lord. He does not give serious attention to the fruitive activities or prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas. For ordinary persons, it is obligatory to execute the prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas. But although a pure devotee who is completely engaged in the service of the Lord may sometimes appear to go against the prescribed Vedic duties, actually it is not so. So one may misuse this. We may say, okay, I'm not going to do my duty and I'll just pretend I'm serving Krishna. No, but then that's a pretense. We are misusing. This can be a misuse of this statement. The consciousness has to be that I am eternal servant of Krishna. So all my activities are for the pleasure of Krishna. Only in that way that a person can give up the prescribed duties. But he does not actually give up prescribed duties. It just appears to us that he's done it. But that is not the real position. A pure devotee, he's always in harmony with the will of Krishna. Always in harmony with the will of Krishna. So whatever he does it for the pleasure of Krishna. It is said, therefore, by Vaishnava authorities that even the most intelligent person cannot understand the plans and activities of a pure devotee. The exact words are Tanra Vakya Kriya Mudra Vigneha Na Bhujaya. Caitaniya Caritamita Madhya Leela, chapter 23, text 39. A person who is thus always engaged in the service of the Lord, who is always thinking and planning how to serve the Lord, is to be considered completely liberated at present. And in the future, his going back home, back to Godhead, is guaranteed. So a pure devotee, what is he thinking? What is he doing? He's always engaged in the service of Krishna. And what is he thinking always? He's planning how I can serve the Lord all the time, 24 hours a day. And because of this, he's completely liberated. He is not attached to the material. He's simply attached to Krishna. He simply wants to please Krishna. He wants to engage in the service of Krishna. And so he will go back to Krishna at the end of when he gives up this body. It is guaranteed. It's guaranteed he will not come back to the material world. Krishna himself says that. All the great authorities says that. The Vedas says that. The revealed scriptures all declare that. So even if we can continuously hear and chant, constantly hear and chant, we can also make this life our last life. So the pure devotee is above all material criticism, just as Krishna is above all criticism. So the pure devotee is always thinking and planning, how can I serve Krishna? How can I serve Krishna? What can I do to serve Krishna? And he's not only thinking and planning, but he's also actually serving. He's engaged all the time in serving Krishna. So we'll stop here for today. Are there any comments or questions? Okay. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.